I'm not a fool, Pliskin.
Call me Snake.
In October 2018, several filmmakers were added to the Oxford English Dictionary in adjective form. Somehow, John Carpenter wasn't one of them.
Gonna be hell to pay.
Instead, we got Kubrickian for Stanley Kubrick's powerful psychological epics, Spielbergian for that E.T. heartwarming wonder, Lynchian for the inexplicably weird yet artful, and Tarantinoesque for anything like this.
You shoot me in a dream, you better wake up and apologize.
But no Carpenter-esque.
Well, can't you answer me?
Today, we'll travel through the lens to define John Carpenter's style and influence, to define Carpenteresque, and why the term belongs in the dictionary.
Everybody relax, I'm here.
John Carpenter directed a dirty dozen of beloved cult classics between 1976 and 88 that have been referenced, homaged, and pilfered for their best bits by more movies and shows than we can even begin to count.
Fantastic.
So what does it mean to be Carpenteresque?
Thinking about it.
Think hard.
Long takes through dark, confined worlds, bleak stories and bleaker surroundings, reluctant, sarcastic heroes.
Are you weird?
Yes, I am.
You are weird.
Yes.
You're weird, thank God you're weird. The last run I had was so normal, it was disgusting.
Brooding electronic scores, often composed and performed by the man himself, and a sense of dread that cuts to your core. That signature style has influenced scores of filmmakers over the past 4 decades, and if you can believe super producer Jason Blum, owner of the movie production power plant Blumhouse,
John Carpenter's movies inspire the filmmakers that we work with more than anyone else's movies.
Blum produced October 2018's Halloween, which is a sequel, or technically a requel, of Carpenter's 1978 original, so he might know a thing or two about the director's work.
The world needs a wake-up call.
Quentin Tarantino, the writer/director/prolific borrower of cool ideas, was always upfront about what inspired The Hateful Eight, admitting that John Carpenter's The Thing was the most influential movie on his own, and the only movie he showed to his cast.
Poor baby, you're starting to lose it, aren't you?
A cast which included Kurt Russell, one of the many things he borrowed from Carpenter's bleak, paranoid masterclass in suspense that has become a filmic landmark, almost the definition of the word Carpenteresque, if the dictionary had included Carpenteresque.
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass.
Tarantino also borrowed The Thing's snowbound setting and potboiler plot, its legendary composer Ennio Morricone, including unused pieces of score from The Thing, and more than a couple of its iconic shots.
We can't learn anything from this.
Now that doesn't mean The Hateful Eight is simply a remake of The Thing.
We're not finished yet!
But do you know what is a remake? The Thing. The pivotal sci-fi original 1951's The Thing from Another World was a Red Scare metaphor that imprinted on John Carpenter's young mind. He would often pay homage to producer-director Howard Hawks' films in his own, such as in 1976's overlooked exploitation exercise, Assault on Precinct 13.
Can't argue with a confident man.
Carpenter reimagined Rio Bravo, a 1959 Western in a bottle, as a modern-day police story in a closing precinct. And he doffed his cap to Howard Hawks by crediting John Wayne's Rio Bravo character, John T. Chance, as his film's editor.
It's nice to see a smart kid for a change.
When he remade The Thing 6 years later, Carpenter turned inspiration and influence into the perfect encapsulation of his trademark style, the definition of Carpenteresque.
Anyone messes with me and the whole camp goes.
Don't argue with him.
Carpenter has been name-checked by everyone from Korean masters like Bong Joon-ho, crowd pleasers like Drew Goddard, and apparently all the filmmakers in Jason Blum's Rolodex. Considering how many films Blumhouse pumps out each year, Carpenter is true to his name, building an empire of influence based on his good work alone.
So, let's get down to business.
Even Oscar-winning auteurs, like Danny Boyle and Guillermo del Toro, love Carpenter. Just don't try to call the man an auteur to his face. He wouldn't have anything to do with that.
An auteur is something someone else calls you. You don't say that about yourself. Right. You don't say, I'm great. You just don't do it. You can't.
He may be modest, and his heroes and films reflect that Spartan style. But Carpenter's influence is undeniable. It's defined. It's definite. It's Carpenteresque.